Cari amici, cari...
Dear friends, dear mayors, today we have the duty of sharing our experience and taking part in a universal reflection, universal like the message which Pope Francis has left us with his encyclical, which I consider to be powerful and rigorous in the field of human rights and environmental sustainability. Now, we know that no man is an island, but islands should not be deprived of the responsibility man has towards others and nature. This is something which will also be characterize the order of the festival of the Franciscan Order, which will be held for 3 years in my city, Bologna. I think mayors can, at the same time, be guardians and builders of peace. We are temporary stewards of a slice of world called city. Bologna is my home. I'm proud of it. Bologna is the city which has the oldest university of the Western world, city which in the 13th century was the first to liberate serfs in our country, and today Bologna is a city which every 10 years sees a 25% turnover in its population. Every year we receive new Italian and foreign citizens. And I can say that Bologna is one of the most mixed cities in Italy, where increasingly people become citizens by choice and not by birth. I think that our task today, looking into each other's eyes, is to rebuild our heritage of civic responsibility and civilization, because it is becoming a everyday commitment to battle against those who disseminate fear, and to therefore base ourselves on courage. Individualism and populism is rampant in our cities. I think our role as mayors is not to give in to this new cynicism, and to try with the urgency of doing to our community, trying to keep them united. We think around concrete projects for the common good, around an idea of participation as an action to be with others. And that's why we've approved a regulation to apply Article 45 of our Constitution, which speaks of subsidiarity. Citizens who organize themselves to undertake services of general interest can be supported by municipalities. With this regulation, it now becomes an obligation. It means that all citizens' associations and enterprises can draw up agreements to cooperate with municipalities. We have a number of things involved: public gardens, social assistance, and culture. A number of these activities which can be undertaken for the good of the city. With regard to climate situations, we agree the goals established in Europe with the Mayor's Pact, and we are keeping to our targets for 2020. Again, basing ourselves in associations between citizens and cooperatives, which together with the activity of the municipality in order to refurbish all public buildings is something which goes in hand with citizens' activity to improve their houses from a energy standpoint, and therefore contribute to combating climate change. And so we call this mechanism the cooperation paradigm and shared administration, and we're doing it with the current difficulties. We're also doing it with regard to human rights and social justice. Up to 2013, in Bologna, there was something called Identification and Expulsion Center, which was a modern torture place where people who did not have a permit to stay in the country only because of this were placed in jail. Thankfully, in line with the tradition of our city. In line with our constitution, we've been able to stop this. It's now a center to host people who come to Europe. And I think that we need to decide how to defend human rights and never give in to the idea of placing human rights under the control of our responses to surveys, because we know that human rights is something which is basic. And the Bologna Municipal Council, on my suggestion, decided to confer honorary citizenship to Muhammad Yunus. You all know Muhammad Yunus, and we feel ourselves inspired by his works and his thoughts. In our city, our main concern is to guarantee social services and educational services, despite the huge cuts to public spending because of the financial difficulties of our countries. We have to get used to new poverties, poor workers, people with acceptable incomes, and we also have to address the fear of the middle class of becoming poor after 50 years in which it had appeared that people had achieved the goal of being safe from poverty. In Bologna, there was a socialist mayor called Zanardi who, during World War I, his citizens set up a bakery and began distributing bread. He's known as the bread mayor. In our neighborhoods, we've opened the Zanardi houses. What are these Zanardi houses? They could, the third sector and enterprises and municipal employees together and establish a bottom-up relationship network in order to provide opportunities for work and also in a number of cases, but also training to all the people who need it, trying to maintain and build something which will be increasingly valuable, which is the value of relationship between people. One of our functions as citizens is to create bonds between people who live in our cities. And also want to point out that combating poverty, particularly in our country, but I think this also applies internationally, also hinges on combating organized crime. 21st of March, Bologna hosted the 20th day of memory and commitment in memory of innocent victims of mafia organizations. More than 200,000 people flocked to our city, and many of whom were young boys and girls from our country. Together with them and with the Father Ciotti Foundation, we established an MOU for procurement, public contracting, so as not to have not the acceptance of tenders solely because they were the lowest bid, so as to make it more difficult for criminal organizations to infiltrate the system, protect workers, and establish a level playing field for companies which want to act fairly. So this is an experience I want to put to you, because I think that what we're here for is to reflect on issues, but there's no better thing, I think, than reflecting in doing things, and also being aware of the fact that in order to do things we can necessarily make mistakes, and we need to learn from mistakes. I'm here to listen and to copy good experiences. I think that's the most important thing to do. I think that our cities currently are a work site. We need projects and investments. We need these to have jobs and to combat poverty. We are confirmed also to. We are called also to place alongside our material building sites some spiritual building sites, construction sites, so that we can organize sustainable development. I trust that Pope Francis and his words may accompany us and help us to build these construction sites of people who act in solidarity against new slavery and against solitude. And I hope that our discussion will allow us to overturn the hierarchical and top-down paradigm of the 20th century, which has shown itself to be unfeasible, and a individualism and a free market which has also shown itself to be damaged. I think people will make the difference in cities, people coming together using their freedom with responsibility towards others in order to distribute wealth, but not just that. So I think that in order to defend our democracy, we mayors should also be convinced that one of our tasks is to redistribute power to people in order to move our democracy forward.